And breaking in just the last few hours, a verdict in the Virginia au pair murder plot as a jury found Brendan Banfield guilty on all charges. Now, as a reminder, Banfield was charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder, one for Banfield's wife, Christine, and another for Joseph Ryan. He also faced one charge for use of a firearm in commission of a felony and another charge for child endangerment. Banfield now faces sentencing on May 8th, but what exactly led to this verdict and what could it possibly mean for the au pair that's involved? For more on this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Marris to talk about this verdict. Misty, thanks for hanging out with us. So guilty on all charges. Were you surprised?
I was not surprised. And this case became so much about the testimony of Banfield. Remember, the au pair had a prosecution agreement. She would testify and cooperate with prosecutors. And ultimately, Banfield also took the stand. So you had kind of 2 different tales being told through the testimony. But ultimately, the evidence really lined up with her side of the story as opposed to his, so I wasn't surprised to see a guilty verdict here.
I mean, what do you make of the deliberation time? I mean, are we reading too much into that? I think it was like under 10 hours to reach a verdict here. Was that like in line with finding him guilty on all charges?
Look, it was a significant amount of time, and keep in mind we had a weekend in between, right? So they deliberated for about 4 hours on Friday night. You can't talk about the case over the weekend. You can't look anything up as a juror, but you can think about what was going on in that jury room. Maybe you have questions coming into the day Monday. And Brian, an interesting thing, and this is different in every jurisdiction, all of the documentary evidence, all of the evidence that was presented to the jury in the case was in that deliberation room with them. In some jurisdictions, you have to ask to see something else. Yeah. So that's a lot of information. There was a lot of expert reports. There was a lot of expert opinions and testimony, blood spatter evidence. That can be pretty dense. Maybe that is something that they reviewed and tried to compare with both of the testimony of the au pair and Banfield.
I mean, was there something in there that you think really was the nail in the coffin, if you will, for Brandon? I mean, obviously, without recapping the entire details of the case, but you have a guy that has this au pair that he has an affair with and says, all right, I want to try to get my wife out of the picture, and I'm going to try to frame someone else for it.
Yeah, so this was actually a really convoluted story. It should have been a real difficult haul for prosecutors because you have to explain this long, devious plan that's set up over months with so many details. But when Banfield took the stand, he created his own timeline. He told the jury his side of the story. Prosecutors, they didn't really focus on a credibility contest between him and the au pair. They focused on really objective evidence that undercut what he said and simply did not make sense, locked him into that timeline, found him in a couple of lies that he really couldn't weasel out of. And once the jury doesn't believe you on one thing, they're going to not believe you on anything. So I think that's really what did it for this guilty verdict.
And then lastly here, so the next step is May 8th, right? That's when that sentencing is going to be. Like, do we have an estimate on what Brandon might be facing?
Well, it is a mandatory life without parole for aggravated murder. So then there's the weapons charge and the child neglect. He'll be sentenced on those, but it's going to be life behind bars. It will be an emotional day, though, Brian, because there will be victim impact statements. They have the right to speak at that proceeding. So it's certainly going to be something to watch, and I'm sure Christine Banfield's family will be in attendance.
Misty Marris, thank you so much for breaking it down. Appreciate it.
Thank you.